Hi there, it's just a short video to tell you about strategic approaches to innovation. This follows on from my last video about types of innovation. This is the second in a four-part series where I talk about, almost academically, about innovation, if you like. The first part was all about types of innovation. This time I would like to talk to you about strategic approaches to innovation. So I should be showing you on the screen right now the same chart that I had in the previous video, but with some extra information overlaid. And this is the strategic approach to innovation. So as we move along that line going up towards structural innovation, our strategic approaches, they change. When we're in the bottom left hand corner, we are talking mainly about planning. It's incremental stuff. We're going to do pretty much the same next year as we did last year. We will use the most up-to-date technology. We'll respond to the marketplace, but basically we're not really doing anything terribly exciting. Now, as we move up the line and we start to become maybe a little bit more disruptive with our innovation, there is something that people have called backcasting. Now, I get on my hobby horse here because backcasting has been borrowed from the area of creativity, which is, as many viewers know, is one of my specialisms. And I get quite annoyed by this. Basically, people who don't understand creativity have pinched it and made it a little more unexciting and pinched it for themselves. But what backcasting is really a form of storyboarding, and anybody who's into marketing will sort of recognize this approach. People are used to creating storyboards for videos, for stories, for campaigns. But in this case, what actually happens is we go to the end point, the place in the future where we're going to be. And then we work backwards one step at a time until we get to where we are now. And this creates a storyboard. Hence, when we're not forecasting, we're backcasting. We're in the future looking backwards. And that's simply all it is. It's not 100% exciting. But in that case, it does the job. But people are using it just as a planning tool. So in the next video, I will be talking a bit more about how we use these things. But there's one more step. As we move up to structural innovation, then there's what I call storycasting. Now, yes, we are still using that storyboarding concept. We are stepping into the future and we are going backwards, but this is a lot more elaborate. The good thing about stories is we can get much richer ideas from all of the people involved. So lots of people can contribute because people see things from different perspectives. They're all valid, but we can get as much information as we can into this storyboard. So what? You might think, it's just extra information. Well, yes, but the point is where we put this endpoint, this stage in the future. Now, I suggest here what we need to be doing is using what many of us call weak signals. Now, weak signals are exactly what they say. They are weak. But the best way to describe it is think of a boat. You're standing on a ferry, a cross-channel ferry, say. You're standing on the stern and you're watching the wake disappear over the horizon. The propellers mash up the sea. If anybody throws rubbish overboard, which they shouldn't, but if they did, you watch that disappear over the horizon. Now imagine you're actually standing on the harbour wall of the port where you just left. You might see the ship, but after a while you won't. You might see some choppy waves, you might see some litter in the sea, and those are what I would call weak signals. They're very like the weak signals I'm talking about here. To the trained eye, you can pick up these things, and somebody might say, well, that was the 4 o'clock ferry going across from Dover to Calais. It's heading in this direction, and we know it's got this many people on board, for argument's sake. With technology and the future and the economy, we don't use ferries, but we use a number of techniques for looking at the weak signals that are in the environment and the economy, and it is perfectly possible to forecast 20 or even 30 years into the future. So we plonk plonk sounds a bit haphazard. We put in well into the future our end point, and we work backwards, and we have as much information as we possibly can. And this is storycasting, and it takes us into the realms of structural innovation. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.